Magnamalo is getting a new form, and I'm going to explain how I know why that's a good thing and what that new form could look like. So first, why am I so certain Magnamalo will get a new form? Well, that has something to do with a tradition that Monster Hunter has followed for over a decade. Let's go back to Monster Hunter 4 so I can explain. Gormagala is the greatest monster of all time, and I couldn't be happier that he's in Sunbreak, but he was also the flagship monster of Monster Hunter 4. Now, you may not have known this, but Monster Hunter 4 was a Japanese exclusive game. 4 Ultimate, the G-Rank expansion, was the version that came to the West. With 4 Ultimate came new monsters, new quests, and weapon balances. Sounds familiar, right? It's just like the G-Rank expansions from Generations, World, and now Rise. But 4 Ultimate brought something else. The Chaotic Gormagala, otherwise known as a new form of base Gormagala. But this isn't something exclusive to Monster Hunter 4. Monster Hunter 3 had Lagiacrys, while 3 Ultimate had Abyssal Lagiacrys. World had Nergigante, and Iceborne had Ruiner Nergigante. And now we've got Sunbreak, which will almost certainly present a new form of Rise's flagship, Magnamalo. Every single G-Rank expansion from the past decade has introduced a new form of the flagship of the base game, and I doubt Sunbreak will be any different. The only exception to this in recent history is Glavenus in Generations, a monster who already had a second form in the base game. But this raises another question. Is it even a good thing that we're getting this new Magnamalo form? Was the original hunt even good enough to warrant one? Well, let me explain why Magnamalo is one of the best hunts in the series. And pay close attention, because while I'm sure you know most of this, some of this stuff is kinda subtle. Let's start with Magnamalo's key mechanic, Hellfire. This is a mechanic that's all about aggression. First, he's got these glowing parts. When they glow pink, he takes extra damage, and if you hit them enough, Magnamalo takes a huge burst of damage and gets knocked down. If you don't deal enough damage, he roars and does his ultimate. This fight promotes heavy aggression by punishing you for failing to reach a damage threshold and rewarding you for succeeding. However, that aggression wouldn't work if it weren't for something simple that Magnamalo does. A lot of Magnamalo's attacks can be dodged with a simple roll or repositioning. This is extremely important as they allow for low committal options that can get you right back into the fight. Attacks like this tail slam or this stab. Lastly, this fight takes advantage of wirefall in a way that I wish more hunts did. It forces you to use wirefall to get out of combos. This attack sees Magnamalo grab you and throw you just high enough to reach the subscribe button. Fortunately, you can wirefall out of the way to prevent yourself from getting hit by Magnamalo's second attack, which seems to be directed at the like button. Anyway, comically bad joke out of the way, forcing you to use wirefall is great as it makes you ration your wire bugs. If you're confident enough to go all out and use all of your wire bugs, you can do that, but if you get hit, you'll get punished heavily for it. So Magnamalo is one of the best hunts in base Rise, but what will his new form look like in Sunbreak? Well, obviously I can't say what Magnamalo's new form looks like because I haven't seen it yet. But I can give you an idea of what I'd like to see. Generally, I'd like the whole fight to be faster and more aggressive, and with G-Rank that's pretty much a given. However, I'd also like to see this new Magnamalo do something that monsters in Sunbreak already do. I want it to bait out counters. For example, it's got this attack that slams down one leg followed by an explosion, but what if that explosion was delayed? If the explosion was delayed, you wouldn't be able to just counter and keep attacking. You'd have to watch for the second attack. Equally, this would prevent you from recklessly wirefalling right back into the fight if you got hit by the first attack. You could do this with a lot of attacks, like the tail slam or even the tackles. But let me know what your ideas for a new Magnamalo form would be, and check out this video on whether or not Sunbreak can fix Rise's hidden problem.